Depression. I'm blogging today to tell y'all about my nonprofit um, work and things of that nature. Okay, let's get started. So I went to the nonprofit that's working with neglected children. I had to do fingerprinting and all that, and I'm waiting now to see the results. Now, I can't talk too much about it because um, there's confidentiality. So I'm doing that. There's another thing that's going on. I had a coworker who actually committed suicide Monday. He and his wife had been going through some things back and forth, back and forth. He was getting put out, and she wasn't um, happy with him. And so Monday, he drove into a parking lot and he shot himself in the head. And I used to work with him, and I couldn't believe that that happened to this guy. Like, he was so nice, he was so helpful, and for him to end his life, it was very, very, very depressing and sad. A lot of black men um, may deal with depression, but they don't get the help for it. And so when I went on Facebook yesterday or the day before, and I saw his picture, I was like, what happened? And my sister called me because that was her and him were good friends. He went to school with her. And she told me what was going on personally with him, that he was dealing with depression and he killed himself. So rest in peace to Ernest Hill. Hopefully your family can get through this grieving process, and hopefully um, they can bring awareness to your death. Um, I know marriage can be hard. I know fighting in the marriage can be hard, and just a person coming down with a mental illness and dealing with depression is it's a weight on the family. And Ernest was a good guy. I can't understand why, it happened like this. Maybe if someone could have stepped in and got him some help, like his wife. Like, when you're married to someone who has depression, you do have a right to step in and help. Like, do something about it. Like, just kicking them out or kicking them to the curb, that's not helping anything, because the person doesn't know why they're sick or why they are depressed. They just acting out what they feel. So, like I said, if you're dealing with depression or you know someone who's dealing with depression, get the help, because it is rampant in the black community amongst black men. And when men are depressed, they're violent, they're moody, they're agitated, so it's different in men. Women, when they're depressed, it's totally different from a man. Like, they're not violent, and you know uh everybody's suicidal when it comes to depression. Suicide has no name, no gender, no nothing. But when depression is in a woman and a man, is totally different. Men get violent. So they might harm somebody else, or they may harm themselves. So yeah, that's kind of sad. I'm gonna try to make it to his funeral. I sent the family a card. It's just Like it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. A lot of people, dying. So that's what's going on in my personal life. So I got a thought yesterday, and I was sitting here thinking, and I was like, why is the world so frustrated? Because, in Kenosha, there is riots, and people are tearing down stuff. I seen a news clip yesterday where some of the Kenosha business owners are closing down for good and they're not coming back. So that's another thing. And I just got to thinking, and I was like, everybody is frustrated with Trump, but we got to roll it back to 2001 with George Bush. When George Bush was in office, he messed up everything. Everything. If you remember Cat Williams, when he talked about George Bush, and he said he messed up gas, water, um, he messed up everything. And so when Obama came in office, Obama agitated that because Obama had to fix everything that George Bush messed up. So Obama kind of um, brought a little bit of peace to what George Bush was doing, but Obama changed the family organization, like heteros. It was no longer heterosexual marriage. It was homosexuals could get married. Then Obama was going to Africa, and he was trying to force LGBT rights on Africa, and Africa has, I think, 76 Islamic states, so they were not trying to hear that. So he couldn't force that, so he put sanctions on certain countries that would not accept homosexuality. So he did that. Um, then let's go back to George Bush. We had Hurricane Katrina. That was another disaster. So from 2001 to 2020, the frustration is like a bomb. It just exploded. So now everybody is frustrated because nothing got done. Nothing really happened under Obama and Bush. So when Trump gets in office, everybody's like, it's your fault. It's your fault. But they're not looking at the past 20 years. We had Obama for 2 terms. And Obama did some things for the HBCUs. He had Big Brother, but I don't know how that worked out because in the black community there's a lot of poverty, so business ownership is really not the theme. So he did that. He took out who was it? Osama bin Laden. That was all foreign policy. So Obama basically was working on foreign stuff, and American problems did never get fixed. So, like I said, when Trump gets in office and he starts to change things and he starts to start messing with certain government funding and cutting funding, and everybody's up in roar. But in Congress, we have a lot of liberal leechers who are just using government funding for their own purposes, and their neighborhoods are ghettos, rioting, drug selling, everything is going on in that particular situation. So now when we get to the Trump era, it's like a bomb went off. because people are frustrated. For the last 20 years, nothing has gotten done. So, can we obviously blame Trump for that? We got to look at the last 20 years. George Bush, that was a lot of frustration when everybody, all the Republicans, were let down because they voted for Bush, and Bush was actually a racist too. So, this is why you got so much frustration. People are tired. Like, nothing's happening, nothing's popping off. And now when Trump comes and tries to reform the government, it causes a lot of agitation, and then you got riots, you got racial tension, and all of that is because of George Bush and then the Obama era. And then now things are kind of moving along a little bit. Um, the stimulus is reaching people, but that's still not enough. And they are trying to bring more stimuluses to the government, but they can't get along because the Democrats are not cooperating. I don't know why it's so hard to cooperate and get along to get the American people what they need. I don't understand what the Democrats. So anyway, the Republican National Conference, I think that's what it's called, came on yesterday. I watched that. Mike Pence, he did an all right job. Um, he talked about what the Democrats want and what the government will look like if Joe Biden is the president. He said that they're taking God out of everything. You will never defund the police. He said that defunding the police will just never happen. I don't care how much that you campaign for it, it'll never happen. He also said, he talked about his mother and how his mother followed politics closely. She was very older, like she looked like she was in her 70s. And I was like, wow, she really studies politics and she's older. So he talked about that. He talked about how America was doing better, the military was rebuilt, the wall. Basically saying that Trump stuck to his promise. So I saw that. I haven't watched the Democrat part yet. I'm going to watch that. But I've been seeing articles about Joe Biden, and they're saying that Joe Biden's mouth is going to mess him up in the polls or something like that. I don't know. They saying Joe Biden got Alzheimer's or something like that because he can't get his words right or whatever the case may be. Let me see what else is going on. I watched Jacob Blake in Kenosis, the guy that got shot. His mother was not saying all the things that the Democrat Party wanted her to say. She actually had respect for the president, and she actually didn't want to speak bad about it. And she said, "Don't tear up any property in the name of her son," because she doesn't appreciate that. And I was like, touche, touche, that's right, that's right. Don't tear up in the name of Jacob Black. But you can tell deeply that there's something wrong with her son, because the way her demeanor was when she said, "Pray for my son," and we're disgusted, but she wasn't blaming the police. She kind of let off that her son has issues, and it might be mental issues. So they were trying to get Jacob because he had a couple of warrants. He actually has a rape charge, and I'm side-eyeing that. because I'm trying to figure out, do we support rapists or are we against rapists? Like, because in the black community, crime is celebrated. So I don't know. Like, it's kind of confusing. Like, I don't know what to think here. But Jacob had a knife and it had a curve on the end of it. And he had it in his hand and they were trying to get it out of his hand or whatever. They walk around the car and he goes in the car to get something and then they shot him because they couldn't get him to submit to the officers. And it's not a good idea to try to resist because you will have your day in court. So it's best if you get arrested to just go with them, remain silent, because when you don't remain silent, everything that you say will be used against you in a court of law. So you should button your lips and do what they ask. Because when you fight them, more than likely a cop is going to get killed or you're going to get killed. One of the two. So it's best to go with them. And I don't hear like people like Benjamin Crump, I don't hear him telling people that. And he needs to tell people, look, cooperate with the police, stop fighting with them, because either you're going to die or a police officer is going to die. And if a police officer dies, you're going to get more charges. So don't make the situation worse than it already is. So Jacob Kanosa's mother was saying that she missed Trump's call and she was sorry that she missed his call. And I was like, wow, this lady, she said that she has the utmost respect for the president. And she spoke very well, and she was very beautiful lady. She also, one thing I noticed about her beauty is she had nice lips. Like, I was like, wow, she can put some whatever on her lips. She's beautiful. So, she spoke very well, and I kind of just liked her whole presence and what she said. And it's good that Jacob isn't critical because he's not dead. And I'm kind of glad that he didn't get killed, because I'm kind of tired of seeing people get killed by the cops when all they have to do is just, just go with them and do what you got to do. But more than likely, when a person fights with the cop, they probably know they're going to get a lot of time, like maybe 10 to 15 years or 8 years, and they don't want to do that much time. So I kind of understand it, but I still say go with them, do what you got to do, and get it over with. Get a good lawyer, study your case, and do what you got to do. If you got to take it to jury trial, take it. Because in 2014, I was arrested. I actually was, the police ran into the back of my car. My children were in the back of my car. They threw me out on the ground. I had a knee in my back. I developed asthma after all of that happened. And what I did was I went up the chain of command. The police officers were manhandling me. They hurt me, and I had to go to the hospital. So when we got down to the jail, the people in the jail saw what was going on, and they would not let them in the jail. So we called 911, and I went on the stretcher to the police, to the hospital. And once I did that, I took that. Once I got well, I went down to the police station. I filed a complaint with the police and the internal affairs, and then I filed another complaint with the FBI. And my charges were dismissed because of excessive force. Excessive force is when a police officer either runs into your car while your children are in there, or either they do something to you that hurts you and it's too excessive. So that's what excessive force is. And go up the chain of command. There's always a way. If there's a will, there's a way. You can You can do a lot of things to get at the police if they are harming you in any way. You don't have to riot. You don't have to throw bricks. You don't have to fight with them. You don't have to do any of that because there's so many mechanisms to help you get through um, your issues with the police. I did it, and I'm a witness. I'm a living testimony. You can do it. So that is what's going on. Um, let's see. I think that's most of the news that I've covered through the week. Oh, yesterday that I saw. Um, but like I said, if you or a family member is going through depression and you need help, please get the help. Do not resort to suicide. Suicide doesn't help because spiritually, um, when you commit suicide, you take your life spiritually. When it's time to reincarnate, you reincarnate as a lesser being. So do not do that. Do not take your own life because God gave you life. It is precious, and you really don't have a right to harm something that God gave you. You know, it's a gift. Life is a gift. So get the help. Get the help. So like, share, subscribe, Salon B. Have a great day.